If you've spent your entire life believing chicken is the absolute healthiest protein choice, what I'm about to unveil might genuinely surprise you. Right now, millions of individuals over 50 are routinely consuming specific parts of chicken that are silently inflicting damage on their arteries, significantly elevating their susceptibility to heart attacks and strokes. The most unsettling aspect is that many of these problematic portions are precisely the ones people cherish the most. You could be ingesting them right now, entirely oblivious to the danger you're exposing yourself to. The food industry often prefers to keep this information from you, but certain chicken sections tend to accumulate toxins, heavy metals, and unhealthy fats. Substances your cardiovascular system simply isn't equipped to handle, especially after 50 when your arteries are already more vulnerable. As a specialist in senior health, I've devoted 12 years to guiding people just like you in protecting their hearts and living longer, more vibrant lives. Today, I'm going to disclose the four chicken parts you absolutely must cease consuming immediately if your goal is to maintain clean arteries and a strong heart. If this information strikes you as important, please tap that like button now so a wider audience can discover this crucial warning. Let me start by stating something that might initially seem contradictory. Chicken is, without a doubt, one of the most beneficial proteins available. However, here's the detail that often goes unmentioned. Not all parts of the chicken are created equal. While some cuts offer lean protein and vital nutrients, other parts function like sponges, absorbing toxins, hormones, pesticides, and dangerous fats that progressively build up in your body. After the age of 50, your body's capacity to eliminate these toxins markedly decreases, meaning each time you consume these hazardous parts, you're essentially depositing harmful substances directly into your cardiovascular system. Before I reveal which parts you need to avoid, it's essential that you comprehend the urgency of this matter. According to the American Heart Association, cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death for adults over 50. Furthermore, research from Harvard Medical School indicates that dietary choices account for nearly 40% of all cardiovascular risk factors. This implies that almost half of your heart's well being is determined by what you place on your plate every single day. The core issue is that most people believe they're making healthy choices when they eat chicken, yet they remain unaware that specific parts are actually accelerating arterial damage. You're about to understand why the very food you thought was safeguarding your heart might actually be detrimental to it. The first dangerous component, and one that frequently surprises people, is chicken skin. I know what you're likely thinking. Chicken skin is incredibly crispy, delicious, and countless people keep it on for its flavor. But here's a truth that changes everything. Chicken skin contains the highest concentration of saturated fat in the entire bird. When consumed, especially fried or high temperature roasted, you're ingesting oxidized fats that directly attach to your arterial walls. Let me explain what happens internally with regular chicken skin intake. First, its saturated fat can elevate your LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol forming plaques in your arteries. A National Institutes of Health study found one serving of chicken with skin has nearly triple the saturated fat of skinless chicken breast. Second, and many overlook this, chicken skin acts as a storage unit for environmental toxins. Chickens are exposed to pesticides through feed, antibiotics for disease, and sometimes growth hormones. All these are fat soluble, accumulating in the chicken's fattiest part, the skin. So when you eat chicken skin, you're not just eating fat, you're consuming a concentrated dose of everything that chicken was exposed to. For those over 50 whose liver and kidneys already work harder to filter toxins, this burdens detoxification systems immensely. Over time, these toxins contribute to chronic inflammation, a major driver of atherosclerosis, the arterial hardening and narrowing leading to heart attacks and strokes. But it gets more dangerous. When chicken skin is cooked at high temperatures, particularly when fried or grilled crispy, it forms advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds damage blood vessel linings, making it easier for cholesterol to stick and form dangerous plaques. Mayo Clinic research indicates regular consumption of age-rich foods leads to significantly higher rates of cardiovascular disease and accelerated vascular aging. Stay with me because what's next will surprise you even more. The second dangerous chicken part is the liver. I recognize that chicken liver holds a revered spot as a delicacy in numerous cultures, and some consider it nutritious due to its iron and vitamin A content. However, here lies the critical issue. The liver serves as the body's primary detoxification organ, meaning it filters every substance the chicken ingests, including toxins, medications, and metabolic waste. When you consume chicken liver, you're essentially ingesting a filter that has been accumulating toxins throughout the chicken's entire life. Research from the American Medical Association indicates that chicken liver contains exceptionally high cholesterol levels, with a single serving providing over 300 millimolars, which surpasses the entire daily recommended limit for most adults. For individuals over 50 with existing elevated cholesterol or cardiovascular risk factors, consuming chicken liver can dramatically spike blood cholesterol levels, accelerating the formation of arterial plaques. But cholesterol is only part of the concern. Chicken liver also accumulates heavy metals such as cadmium and lead, particularly if the chickens were raised in industrial farming environments where exposure to contaminated feed and water is common. A study by environmental health researchers found that liver from conventionally raised chickens contained significantly higher concentrations of toxic metals compared to their muscle tissue. These metals don't simply pass through your system, they accumulate in your own organs, especially your kidneys and cardiovascular system, contributing to oxidative stress and damage to your blood vessels. For seniors whose bodies are less efficient at eliminating heavy metals, this accumulation can accelerate the aging of your cardiovascular system and heighten your risk of heart disease. If this information resonates, please type liver in the comments to let me know you're following along. Now, the third hazardous chicken part might catch you by surprise, as many tend not to even consider it: the chicken neck. In some cultures, chicken necks are utilized for making broth or enjoyed as a snack, often perceived as harmless due to their small size. Yet, here's the concealed danger. Chicken necks are predominantly composed of skin, fat, cartilage, and small bones, which translates to a very high fat to meat ratio. When you consume chicken necks, you're ingesting a concentrated dose of the same saturated fats and toxins found in chicken skin, but with negligible nutritional benefit. What makes chicken necks particularly problematic is their common preparation method: frying or roasting until crispy, which maximizes the formation of those harmful ages I discussed earlier. Furthermore, the cartilage and connective tissue in chicken necks are rich in purines, compounds that metabolize into uric acid in your body. Elevated uric acid levels are linked to increased cardiovascular risk, according to research from the European Society of Cardiology. High uric acid contributes to inflammation, endothelial dysfunction, damage to the inner lining of blood vessels, and an elevated risk of hypertension. For seniors who may already contend with joint issues or gout, consuming chicken necks can exacerbate these conditions while simultaneously increasing cardiovascular risk. It's a dual issue that most people fail to connect to their dietary choices. The reality is that chicken necks offer minimal protein and maximum risk, positioning them as one of the least advisable choices for protecting your heart after 50. And now for the most crucial revelation, as the fourth dangerous part is one most people would never suspect. The fourth and final chicken part you absolutely must avoid comprises the tips of chicken wings. I understand that chicken wings are immensely popular, particularly at restaurants and social events. However, the wing tips, which many enjoy chewing on, pose a particular hazard. Here's the reason: wing tips are often the primary site for chicken injections, including vaccines, antibiotics, and sometimes growth promoting substances. Since chickens are frequently injected in the wings to preserve the more valuable breast meat, these tips become a concentrated area for pharmaceutical residues. Research published in veterinary medicine journals has demonstrated that injection sites in poultry can retain higher levels of antibiotic residues compared to other parts of the bird. When you consume wing tips, especially on a regular basis, you're exposing yourself to these antibiotic residues, which can foster antibiotic resistance within your body and disrupt your gut microbiome. A healthy gut microbiome is vital for cardiovascular well being, as it plays a role in regulating inflammation, cholesterol metabolism, and blood pressure. Furthermore, there's another often overlooked issue with wingtips: they contain very little actual meat consisting mainly of skin, cartilage, and fat, which results in one of the worst protein to fat ratios among all chicken parts. Eating wingtips means you're largely consuming fat and connective tissue with minimal nutritional gain. For individuals over 50 who require high quality protein for maintaining muscle mass and supporting heart health, wingtips are a poor choice, offering empty calories and unhealthy fats without the essential nutrients your body genuinely needs. Nutritional analysis from the USDA indicates that nearly 60% of the calories in wingtips come from fat, predominantly saturated fat. Contrast this with chicken breast, where less than 10% of calories are from fat, and it becomes clear why wingtips are such a problematic option for cardiovascular health. When you factor in that wingtips are typically deep fried and covered in salty sauces, you're creating an ideal scenario for arterial damage, elevated blood pressure, and increased cholesterol levels. If you're interested in exclusive content dedicated to heart protection and optimal food choices, consider joining our channel, where I share detailed meal plans and practical strategies. Now, allow me to recount an experience from my practice that truly illuminated the gravity of this issue. I vividly recall Robert, a 68-year-old retired police officer from Austin, Texas, who sought my help due to chest pain and shortness of breath during his morning walks. Upon reviewing his medical history, his cholesterol was alarmingly high, blood pressure elevated, and stress tests revealed worrisome signs of diminished blood flow to his heart. Robert was frustrated, believing he had been eating healthily, having switched from red meat to chicken years prior, exactly as his doctor advised. However, when I inquired about his specific chicken consumption habits, the reality emerged. Robert adored fried chicken with the skin intact, regularly ate chicken liver from his wife's traditional family recipe, and frequently snacked on fried chicken wings, tips, and all while watching sports on weekends. He was unaware that these specific components were saturating his arteries with saturated fat, toxins, and inflammatory compounds. I explained to him precisely what I'm sharing with you now, and together we implemented a straightforward yet impactful change. We transitioned him to skinless chicken breast, completely removed liver and wingtips, and emphasized grilled or baked preparation methods. Within 6 months, Robert's cholesterol plummeted by 40 points, his blood pressure stabilized, and his chest pain vanished. He resumed his morning walks free of discomfort, and follow up tests showed significant arterial health improvement. Robert confided that learning which chicken parts to avoid was among the most invaluable health lessons he had ever learned. This is precisely why I'm sharing this with you today, because even minor adjustments to the chicken parts you consume can profoundly affect your cardiovascular health, particularly after turning 50. Have you ever unknowingly made this dietary error? Share your experiences in the comments below and tell me if you've been eating these hazardous chicken parts. Now, let's move on to the practical advice you'll need to make informed choices moving forward. If you truly love chicken and want to keep it in a heart healthy diet, here's precisely what to do. First, consistently opt for skinless chicken breast or thighs. These cuts provide high quality lean protein without the dangerous saturated fats and toxins concentrated in the skin. Second, completely avoid organ meats like liver, especially if you have elevated cholesterol or existing cardiovascular disease. While liver offers some nutrients, the risks for heart health far outweigh the benefits. Third, if you enjoy chicken wings, remove the tips before cooking and discard the skin before eating. Better yet, choose skinless drumsticks or thighs as safer, flavorful alternatives. Fourth, be mindful of how your chicken is prepared. Grilling, baking, or poaching at moderate temperatures is considerably healthier than frying or roasting at very high heat, which creates harmful ages that damage blood vessels. The American Heart Association emphasizes that cooking methods are as vital as the parts chosen. Now, something often overlooked about buying chicken. Its quality profoundly impacts your health outcomes. Whenever possible, choose organic, free range chicken not raised with antibiotics or growth hormones. These chickens have fewer toxic residues, reducing your exposure to harmful compounds from the start. A Journal of Environmental Health study found organic poultry had significantly lower levels of antibiotic resistant bacteria and chemical residues compared to conventionally raised poultry. I know organic chicken can be more expensive, but view it as an investment in your health now to avoid costly medical bills and serious problems later. If organic isn't available or affordable, at least choose chicken labeled raised without antibiotics, a positive step. Always read labels carefully, avoiding products with added sodium, flavorings, or other additives that could increase cardiovascular risk. Now, let me address a common question from my patients. What about chicken broth made from bones and skin? Is that also hazardous? This is an important inquiry, as chicken broth is frequently recommended for its health benefits, particularly for joint health and immune support. The truth is, chicken broth made primarily from bones is generally safe and can be quite nutritious. However, you must be cautious about including skin and fatty parts. If you're preparing broth at home, use bones and lean meat, but avoid adding skin, neck, liver, or fatty sections. Skim off any fat that rises to the surface during cooking, and you'll yield a nutritious broth rich in collagen and minerals, free from dangerous fats and toxins. If you found this video beneficial, please hit that like button again to help more people learn about heart protection. Here's another crucial aspect most people never consider. How you store and handle chicken before cooking also significantly influences its potential danger. Chicken is highly perishable and can harbor bacteria like Salmonella and Campylobacter, which cause foodborne illness. For seniors whose immune systems may be weaker, foodborne illness can be particularly serious, even life-threatening. Always store chicken in the coldest part of your refrigerator. Never leave it at room temperature, and cook it thoroughly to an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit to kill harmful bacteria. Cross-contamination is another major concern. Never use the same cutting board or utensils for raw chicken and other foods without washing them thoroughly with hot, soapy water. Bacteria from raw chicken can easily transfer to salads, vegetables, and other foods, increasing your risk of infection. For older adults, a serious case of food poisoning can lead to dehydration, hospitalization, and long term health complications. Therefore, proper food safety is absolutely essential. Now, let me share another anecdote that vividly illustrates the immense importance of these details. I had a patient, Dorothy, a 71-year-old retired teacher from Manchester, England. She enjoyed preparing traditional family recipes, which notably included chicken liver pate and fried chicken with crispy skin. Dorothy had been diagnosed with high cholesterol and early stage coronary artery disease, yet she couldn't grasp why her condition wasn't improving despite adhering to her prescribed medications. When we meticulously reviewed her diet, she was astonished to discover that her cherished chicken dishes were actively undermining her medication's effectiveness. Dorothy made a challenging but crucial decision to forego the chicken parts she loved, replacing them with healthier alternatives. She learned to prepare delectable baked chicken breast with various herbs and spices, realizing she could still enjoy flavorful chicken without jeopardizing her health. Within 8 months, Dorothy's arterial plaque measurements showed encouraging signs of stabilization, and her cardiologist was highly impressed with her progress. Dorothy remarked that comprehending the distinction between healthy and hazardous chicken parts had quite literally saved her life, enabling her to implement changes before experiencing a heart attack. If you've ever unknowingly consumed any of these four dangerous chicken parts, please type the number 4 in the comments. Now, let me offer some final practical advice to facilitate this dietary transition. First, experiment with a diverse range of herbs, spices, and marinades to infuse flavor into skinless chicken, removing the need for skin or frying. Ingredients like garlic, rosemary, thyme, lemon, paprika, cumin, and black pepper can transform a simple chicken breast into a delicious meal. Second, explore various cooking methods to find what you genuinely enjoy. Grilling imparts a smoky flavor, baking offers convenience and a hands off approach, and slow cooking yields incredibly tender and flavorful chicken. Third, when dining out, don't hesitate to request modifications. Ask for grilled chicken without skin, have sauces served on the side, and steer clear of fried chicken options. Most restaurants are willing to accommodate such requests, particularly when you explain they're for health reasons. Fourth, educate your family and friends about these potential dangers, empowering them to make informed choices as well. Heart disease often runs in families, frequently due to shared eating habits, so helping loved ones understand which chicken parts to avoid can protect multiple generations. Finally, remember that safeguarding your heart isn't about perfection. It's about consistently making better choices most of the time. If you occasionally indulge in chicken skin during a special celebration, that's perfectly acceptable. What truly matters are your daily habits and your overall eating pattern. Prioritize selecting the healthiest chicken parts most of the time, prepare them in heart healthy ways, and pair them with an abundance of vegetables, whole grains, and beneficial fats like olive oil and avocados. Research from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute indicates that individuals who consistently make heart healthy food choices reduce their risk of heart attack and stroke by up to 50% compared to those who do not. That's a profound difference, underscoring how impactful your food choices truly are. Every meal presents an opportunity to either protect or potentially harm your heart, and now you possess the knowledge to make the right decision. Let me reiterate the four dangerous chicken parts you absolutely must avoid, especially after the age of 50. First, chicken skin, which is laden with saturated fat, toxins, and forms harmful ages when cooked at high temperatures. Second, chicken liver, which accumulates toxins and heavy metals while containing excessive cholesterol. Third, chicken necks, primarily composed of fat, skin, and cartilage with minimal nutritional value and high purine content. And fourth, chicken wing tips, which can contain antibiotic residues from injection sites and possess a terrible protein to fat ratio. By diligently avoiding these four parts and instead choosing skinless chicken breast or thighs, you are making one of the most significant decisions for your cardiovascular health. Your heart will be grateful, your arteries will remain cleaner, and you will substantially diminish your risk of heart attack and stroke. Remember, this isn't about eliminating chicken entirely. It's about selecting the correct parts and preparing them in the healthiest manner possible. If this video was helpful to you, don't miss the next one appearing on your screen right now, where I will disclose 5 foods that naturally cleanse your arteries and help reverse plaque buildup. Your heart health is too vital to leave to chance. So continue to learn, continue to make superior choices, and continue to prioritize your well being. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next.